You know Elon Musk as the genius behind Tesla, SpaceX, and other groundbreaking ventures. But what if I told you he's now stepping into a role that could change how the government runs? His new position? Head of what he's calling the Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE for short. Yep, DOGE, like the meme. So let's take a look at how we got to this point, and then discuss the new concept of the DOGE. Right now, America is facing some serious financial challenges. The national debt is growing, government spending seems out of control, and the divided government makes many people feel like taxpayer money isn't being used wisely. To kick things off, let's talk about where the US stands financially. Right now, the country is in a bit of a pickle with an unprecedented national debt level of $35.5 trillion. Think of it like a household budget. If you're spending more than you earn, you'll eventually run into trouble. That's basically what happened to America. The government spends more money than it makes every single year, which means it has to borrow to make up the difference. When the government borrows money, it does so by selling bonds. These are like IOUs. Investors give the government money now, and the government promises to pay it back later with interest. But here's the catch. The more the government borrows, the more interest it has to pay. It's like if you maxed out your credit card and then had to borrow more just to pay the minimum balance. Over time, the interest piles up, and it becomes harder and harder to get out of debt. Now, here's where things get interesting. Recently, Elon Musk has stepped into the spotlight, not just as a businessman, but as someone who could potentially help the government clean up its act. You probably know Elon as the guy behind Tesla, SpaceX, and more recently, the social media platform X, formerly Twitter. He's famous for tackling big challenges and coming up with innovative solutions. Elon has been critical of how the government spends money. He thinks there's a lot of waste, and he's not shy about saying it. So when Donald Trump won the US presidential election, Elon Musk wasn't just watching from the sidelines. He pledged financial support to Trump's campaign and is now expected to play a role in the administration. His new position? Head of what he's calling the Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE for short. Yep, DOGE, like the meme. The DOGE isn't a real government department, at least not yet anyway, but it's Elon's idea to tackle inefficiency in how the government operates. According to Musk, the goal is simple: cut waste, reduce the national deficit, and make sure taxpayer money is being spent wisely. Sounds good on paper, right? But how does he plan to do it? Elon wants to start by auditing the entire federal government. This means looking at every department, program, and expenditure to see what's working and what isn't. If something isn't providing value to the American people, Musk wants to cut it. Think of it like cleaning out your closet. You keep the stuff you use and get rid of the things that just take up space. Before we go any further, let's take a closer look at how the government makes and spends money. In 2024, the US government collected about $4.92 trillion. Most of that came from individual income taxes, Social Security taxes, and corporate taxes. Sounds like a lot, right? But here's the problem. The government spent $6.75 trillion. That's almost $2 trillion more than it had available to spend. So where does all that money go? A big chunk is spent on Social Security, Medicare, and defense. There's also spending on healthcare, education, transportation, and more. And don't forget the interest on the national debt. That alone takes up a significant portion of the budget. When you add it all up, it's clear that the US is living beyond its means. Elon Musk is no stranger to cutting costs. At Tesla, he focused on streamlining production to make electric cars more affordable. At SpaceX, he found ways to reuse rockets, saving millions of dollars with each launch. At X, he made controversial decisions like reducing the workforce by 80% to cut costs. Whether you agree with his methods or not, there's no denying that Musk knows how to make operations lean and efficient. Now, he wants to bring that same approach to the US government. Elon believes there's a lot of low-hanging fruit when it comes to government waste. In his words, the federal bureaucracy is a target-rich environment, meaning there are plenty of opportunities to cut unnecessary spending. For example, Elon has talked about government programs that spend millions or even billions without delivering real value. He wants to hold people accountable. If someone wastes taxpayer money, Musk thinks they should be personally accountable for those actions. It's a bold approach, but one that he believes will make a big difference. Reducing the deficit isn't Elon's only goal. He's also talked a lot about deregulation. In simple terms, deregulation means reducing the rules and restrictions that businesses and individuals have to follow. Musk argues that too many regulations make it hard for companies to innovate and for the economy to grow. To explain his point, Elon often uses a football analogy. Imagine a football game with only a few referees. The players can focus on the game, and the refs can enforce the rules when needed. But what happens if you put 50 or 100 referees on the field? The players can't move without bumping into someone, and the game comes to a halt. That's how Elon sees the current state of regulation in America. Of course, not everyone agrees with Musk's view on deregulation. Critics worry that scaling back regulations could lead to unintended consequences. For example, some regulations are in place to protect public safety, the environment, or consumer rights. If these rules are removed, what happens if companies cut corners to save money? Take the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, NHTSA, for example. This agency sets safety standards for cars, like requiring seatbelts and airbags. If these regulations were weakened, would car companies still prioritize safety? These are valid concerns, and they highlight the potential downsides of deregulation. Elon's response to these worries is that any removed regulation could be reinstated if it turns out to be necessary. But critics argue that even a temporary gap in regulation could have serious consequences. It's a tricky balance to strike, and it's one of the reasons why Musk's role in the government is so controversial. Another concern is the impact on jobs. If the government cuts spending or consolidates agencies, some people will lose their jobs. That's a tough reality, and it's something Elon has acknowledged. However, he believes the overall economy will benefit. In Musk's view, people who lose government jobs can find new opportunities in other industries where their skills are needed. He's even suggested offering severance packages to help workers transition. It's a compassionate approach, but it's still a difficult topic, especially for those directly affected. One of the biggest criticisms of Elon's potential role in the government is the possibility of a conflict of interest. Musk owns or is heavily involved in companies like SpaceX and Tesla, which could be directly impacted by changes in government policy. For example, if Elon has the power to deregulate industries, how can we be sure he won't favor policies that benefit his own businesses? It's a fair question, and one that Elon will have to address if he takes on this role. Transparency will be key. Musk has said he wants all government actions to be open and public so everyone can see what's happening and why. This level of transparency could help build trust, but it's not a perfect solution. So, what do you think? Is Elon Musk the right person to tackle America's financial and bureaucratic challenges? Or is this just a recipe for controversy? There are valid arguments on both sides. On one hand, Elon's track record of innovation and efficiency is impressive. On the other hand, his involvement raises some serious questions about fairness and accountability. At the end of the day, one thing is clear. America is at a crossroads. Whether it's Elon Musk or someone else, changes will need to be made to secure the country's financial future. The real question is, how do we balance efficiency with fairness and progress with caution? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more deep dives into topics like this. See you next time.